Well, hi there. How are you guys doing today? Thank you so much for being here for our live stream. Obviously, we have some big news, and I think it's probably already apparent what that news is.
Clinty's been replaced by my gorilla!
Yay! I think it's about time. If anything, this was an overdue change to make for the channel, I think.
Oh, little gorilla. If you guys don't know, Anthony Simone is a friend now, but started off as a fan and a patron on Patreon, and he sent me this gorilla in the live stream last week, and I just love him.
So what do you guys think of the big change? Was that the big news you were expecting? Because we have more. In fact, I'm coming back. I'm going to come back with a special cameo appearance from...
He doesn't fit on the couch.
No, he doesn't. He's too big for the couch. I'm too big for the couch. Okay. I'm back. What do you think? And the big news is this shirt and tie combination. What do you guys think of that? I've struggled to find a tie for this shirt, and I love this. It fills me with joy and Leisha with shame. It's exactly what I'm looking for in a tie. What do you guys think of that? Okay, so that also is not the biggest news.
Nope.
I saw some predictions. Do you guys have predictions? Here, I'll give myself a little headspace. Do you guys? I'm a little tall. I'm taller than the gorilla. I might not be as big and burly and strong, but I'm taller than the gorilla. So, do you guys have any predictions about what our awesome big news might be? I saw some before. They maybe had some predictions bigger than what I would have. Oh,
Let's see, what are they saying? New house? That's a good question.
New house. That would be awesome. That'd be maybe someday. For now, though, just a slightly different angle on our existing house. What do you think of the Christmas tree Leisha made? Leisha, is your video up on that? Mm-hmm. Leisha, this Christmas tree, by the way, we've had that since we were newly married. And when we were newly married, we were living on my master's graduate stipend. So we had approximately zero money.
And we bought this Christmas tree at Walmart, and it was on sale, pre-lit for $30. And we were like, that's a great price for a Christmas tree, but can we spend $30 on this tree?
And here we are 10 years later. And the tree wasn't looking very good, though. It was a $30 tree to begin with, and then it was well past its prime. But Leisha, because she's a wizardess, has, I think, made it pretty glorious. She's got the magical touch. Anyway, so there's our Christmas tree.
The lights were burnt out, and it was looking pretty bad. But and that's what my video is on, is how to make a cheap tree look expensive.
So that was fun. But that also is not our big news.
Nope.
Not at all. I saw. Well, let's see. Are we getting some predictions? About spaghetti monster? I ate spaghetti for lunch. I was seeing a lot of predictions about a baby, and
sure, another pet human.
You probably noticed in the picture that I posted in the community tab that Leisha looked like she was glowing, and she was, because she was pregnant in that picture. But now the baby's asleep upstairs, so that is not it.
I am not pregnant.
That is not it either.
Martha's only 6 months old, so
yeah, that picture was taken in New Zealand last November, right before the world came crashing down.
Yep.
It was awesome. We actually filmed videos while we were there in Australia and New Zealand and out on the remote island of Niue. And I can tell you, we are going to get those made into video soon. I sat down with Jason for a while last night, and we planned. I don't know if you guys know how, like, people a lot of times are like, next week do this, and I'm like, oh. I sat down with Jason last night. We could not film again until the end of March.
And have enough videos.
And we'd have plenty of videos.
Yeah, and our New Way trip, it was such a cool island, and it was so fun. I edited an entire video on our New Way trip, and none of it got saved. So
yes,
I'm pretty bummed about that.
But it was awesome, and we still have the footage, so that's saved. So we'll get back to work on it, but we'll be making lots of things. As you know, today, by the way, we're going to be playing a game. This also is not the big news, but we're going to be playing this game. You probably saw on the thumbnail, and so be thinking of questions you'd like to ask to find out if we have or if we have never. It should be a lot of fun. Alicia made these last week. We played a little bit. But
patrons will have.
I hope so. I hope there's lots of questions about it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and tell them what the big news is, though.
Are you?
I am.
All right.
I am.
First thing in this live stream.
First thing. I don't want to leave them hanging because they can. We'll be playing fun games, but several months ago, people started talking to us about creating a Discord server, which I think that was the first time I ever heard of a Discord server.
Was for me.
I am not good with the technology and whatnot, and so it was sort of like I don't know, and so we talked about it as a team, and we weren't sure we were ready or knew enough about Discord to do it, to create our own Discord server. But excitingly, a group of fans, including those that originally suggested it, created an amazing Clint's Reptiles kind of unofficial Discord server. And since they created that was a few months ago, they created that. It's really neat.
A few months ago already?
I think so. It's really, really neat. They've done an amazing job with it. It's got all kinds of emotes, which are like, it's got like stinking rad emoji and let's see, Gus emoji.
Well, hi there.
Well, hi there.
Has my face.
Yeah, Alicia's face, my face for various things. It's hilarious and amazing. And it was funny, I finally got my feet wet with Discord by going over there and checking out their Discord server. And, it was so much fun. There are people like be saying hi to me. And you notice when I respond to comments and stuff all the time, I'm like, well, hi there. And I'd start to type that and then I'd be like, wait a second, there's an emoji for this. And I can anyway, it was so much fun. And definitely support that one because it's awesome. But that's not even my exciting news, because our exciting news is that we have been so impressed with this Discord server that especially Will, who is the one member of our entire team who has experience with Discord, Will has spearheaded the creation of the official Clint's Reptiles Discord.
Say it again.
There exists, right this moment, right there, I think in the comments you can see the link right now to the official Clint's Reptiles Discord. And I'm going to say, I'm going to try to stay active on both of them because this fan one is amazing and we're not trying to crush it. It's just we were so impressed. It's like, okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. And we've talked to them. The owner of the fan one, Charlotte, and she goes by Char, so I'm like Charlotte. Anyway, and so we've talked to her about it, and everybody's excited about really both of these. They're really fun. They'll probably over time kind of develop slightly different roles. We'll just see. Again, I'll try to be active on both of them, but I have an exciting announcement to add on top of this exciting announcement, which is tomorrow on the official Discord, we're going to do a fancy pants meet and greet over there, which will be actually quite a bit like this, but I think there's more to it. I might even be able to hear you guys back. Really? It's going to be really cool. I don't know. I still don't know diddly squat about Discord, but Will has promised me he can train me before tomorrow. And so details will be coming up on that Discord. So definitely check it out. I don't know if you need to create an anyway, do the things that you need to do
to check it out.
Check it out. And I don't know what I'm doing. Again, there's a reason I didn't do this. I stink at this. But anyway, that is, I think, some really, really exciting news. We probably have even more exciting news that'll trickle out all through this thing. But I think we should play a couple rounds of I have never. Do we have any questions for this?
Not yet, but we have some super chats. So
All
let's go
right.
through some super chats.
Let's do a super chat while we wait.
And then we'll do a couple. We'll wait for those questions to come in. Okay, so the first one is from Anthony. He sent $100.
Anthony.
And he just booked another appointment.
Yay! I look forward to my appointments with Anthony so much.
He's such a good guy.
Thank you so much.
Anthony said, "For the reptile room, my friends, love that you love the gorilla."
We love. Did you like his tie?
Yeah.
That was our little detail of the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but and by the way, Alicia just said that Anthony just booked an appointment. We do live, face-to-face, over Zoom tours of the reptile room with me. And so
it's one-on-one. So you get to talk with Clint about whatever you want to talk about.
Exactly. Though you can invite your friends and family as well. And it's actually been a really cool thing. There are some people that, like, they, say a father and son or various family members that live far apart that can't see each other right now. But this is something they can still do together. And it's really, really fun to see that. And so please do that, because that is literally 100% what is saving the reptile room, especially right now when the reptile room is again closed because we're experiencing the highest COVID numbers we've ever had here in Utah. Yeah. I mean, if you can, it's so fun to get to meet you guys.
Clint loves getting to know you guys. It's his favorite thing.
But again, we will be having a meet and greet tomorrow on the Discord server as well. And so I hope to see you there. See you there.
Okay. Sherry said, "Thank you so much." LBW. And you forgot to do super duper chat for Anthony.
Oh yeah, that was a super duper chat.
Okay.
That was a super duper chat. I forgot that I have a super duper chat.
Sherry LBW said, "Thank you so much for pointing me to GBS for quality animals. FedEx lost my." Is that Great Basin Serpentarian?
Yes.
FedEx lost my Bredli. Is it supposed to be
Bredls? Python?
Yeah, BREDLI. From them this week and delivered 3 days late. Packed so well, he was barely stressed. Oh. Tagged you on Instagram for pic.
Thank you.
Tagged you.
I'll have to check that out. And do check out our Instagram. I will check that out. But you had me on pins and needles for a second there. What? It got lost for 4 days. I'm like, oh no, this is going to be a tragedy. But yeah. And in fact, Great Basin Serpentarium, they do such a good job that whenever I have to ship an animal, because I don't do it that often, I always just go there and have them help me. Yeah. So I make sure that I do it right, because they do it really right.
Good. Fun Police sent a super chat.
Fun Police?
Can't watch the stream as much now that Bezos has me running all over, but I'm still here in spirit. I'll set up a one-on-one when I know what days I have off.
Hot diggity. I will look forward to it.
Okay, let's see. Anthony Simon sent a $20 super chat.
It's $19.99, just under the super duper chat threshold.
Okay. Hello, my friends. What are some of your favorite unusual Hadalzone deep sea animal species?
Ooh. Some of my favorite deep sea animals?
Mine's comb jelly.
Yeah, comb jellies are wonderful. The deep sea is one of those places that gets me super excited because it's like an alien world, except for the fact that the things down there are sort of distantly related to things from the shells.
Interesting.
Giant squid, very, very exciting. And I love sperm whales. They're my favorite whale. And they go down and hunt giant squid, which I also love, but I'm cool with it because sperm whales are so cool that they can eat another one of my favorite animals. And I'm still like, you're awesome. You're so awesome. Of course, sperm whales come up to the shallows. Leisha and I even got to see one a few years ago from the beach in California, just not very far away.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Incredible. But all the deep sea anglerfish and the gulper eels, and there's an octopus called a Dumbo octopus down there, goblin sharks. There's so many rad creatures from the extreme deep ocean. Of course, giant ocean isopods.
Yeah.
I learned yesterday, by the way, and maybe you guys have heard about this, and I'm thinking like, videos. Like, we gotta share this with the world, because and I guarantee you some of you've heard of this, because I think it went quasi-viral at one point, but it was new to me. There is, and Alicia probably won't like this, but here we are.
Uh-oh.
There is an isopod in the ocean called a tongue-eating isopod. It climbs in through the gills of bony fishes and hangs out there.
No.
And they're all males. They all hatch out as males. After they hang out back there, if one of them gets to be really big, it will turn into a female. And it'll climb into where the fish's tongue is, and it will essentially sever
Fish have tongues?
Uh-huh. They will sever the blood supply to the tongue, causing the tongue to fall off. And they essentially hook in to where the tongue normally is and function for the rest of their lives as the fish's tongue.
And they just eat whatever the fish is eating?
They eat some of that, they live off of the blood supply, and they do what the tongue does. So they just are a replacement, not bionic tongue, just a living other creature tongue.
So they help the fish swallow?
Yep, they do all the things that the fish has done.
That is disgusting.
Because they don't.
That is so alien-like.
I
do not like that.
It does not behoove them to harm the fish, because once the fish dies, they die. So everybody wins. Be the tongue.
Like that makes me
much like Jebediah Springfield.
I don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm. He's got a silver tongue.
Okay.
Truly. It's a perfectly cromulent.
Wolf Jager said, "Hi Clint, what is your opinion on reptilinks? My wife is much more likely to let me get a snake if it doesn't involve frozen mice in our freezer."
Reptilinks, I want to have more firsthand experience. We're actually in communication with Reptilinks about working with them a little bit to try to figure out more about their product. I have for a long time found Reptilinks to be very interesting. And for those of you unfamiliar with Reptilinks, they're basically like little sausages, but formulated for snakes and other reptiles. And they've got all kinds of cool formulas, frog, rodent, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of different feeding
dogs for snakes.
Yeah, effectively hot dogs for snakes. I've heard a lot of people having success with hognose snakes that are difficult to eat on the mini frog.
Could you do it for egg-eating snakes too?
Maybe. I'll have to see if they've got an egg formula.
Interesting.
That's a good question. Anyway, really interesting food. I think if you've got a snake that is just like a great eater, they will probably take Reptilinks. If it's a formula that's actually more similar to their natural diet than most of the feeders available, that you probably have a good chance with Reptilinks. Otherwise, I have a feeling it might be difficult to get some animals switched over to Reptilinks. But so that would be the big thing, is making sure you get an individual that takes them. But if you got an individual that takes them, something that eats really well, like a king snake.
I hope that works. Mm-hmm. That's rad.
And the cost, I think, is a little bit higher than a comparably sized rodent, but there's a lot more work going into it too.
Yeah.
Reptilinks don't grow themselves,
Lauren Bevel said, "First question, have you been recognized in public outside of school / reptile related things, for example, the store or a restaurant?"
Yes.
The first time he got recognized, we only had like 5,000 subscribers or something.
I think we had more than that.
Maybe 13 at the park.
Yeah. A while back,
when we very first started.
When the channel was fairly new, I was at a park near my house, and there was a little kid, and he had a reptile shirt on, various different reptiles, and I was like, "Your shirt's awesome," and they didn't say a thing. Okay, and then I was just playing with my kids. And then the mom walked over to me a while back. She's like, "Are you from Clint's Reptiles?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh my gosh!" That was the first time outside of like a reptile expo or a pet shop. If I'm in a pet shop, and here's the thing I've noticed. Like if I go to Animal Arc, as I am wont to do, if I'm dressed in street clothes, historically I didn't get noticed that much.
Mm-hmm.
But when I would come in there to pick up an animal, like before we'd film, and I'd be in a shirt and tie and stuff, or actually, the reason I do this is because I dress like this when I teach And it didn't make sense for me to dress down to go teach about reptiles after I was already dressed this way. So anyway, so if I've just been teaching also, I go in there, it seems like people notice me a lot. Anymore, it's quite a bit, but that's not totally out of context. The craziest ones for me were when we were in Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, we were at Australian Reptile Park, and Cooper from Coop's Reptiles recognized Clint and was so nice to us. He gave us some awesome tours of the zoo and let us hold some stuff. He was so nice, but he was like,
check out Coop's
you
Reptiles.
Clint?
It's a YouTube
I watch your channel, mate. I'm like, oh, you're cute. I love you. He was so fun. So we hung out with him the whole day. And then we went to New Zealand, and we went to a zoo in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And you got recognized in New Zealand, but the crazy thing is that the person who recognized him is from California, but
Yes.
also happened to be in New Zealand.
Yeah. Crazy. It's crazy. Crazy world.
It is crazy. Okay, more questions. Oh, that's it. So no one's doing Never Have I Ever. Should we hop on over to Patreon?
Have they ever?
I meant I have and I have never.
Well, I'm seeing have you ever eaten any reptile like snake or gator? I think that's a good question. So have I ever eaten a reptile like a snake or gator? I assume we're excluding the avian reptiles.
Yeah, no chicken.
So other than avian reptiles, have you ever
Let me
eaten
think.
a reptile?
My brother's eaten a rattlesnake. Was I with him? Ready?
Yep.
Set.
I've had many opportunities to eat them, but I love them too much. It's not necessarily logical, right? Because it's not. So suppose a farm-raised alligator, which I've had the opportunity to eat and didn't. Is that really worse to eat a farm-raised alligator than a farm-raised cow? No, but it makes me sadder for some reason.
Have you ever found an animal and brought it home?
Have I ever found an animal and brought it home?
1, 2.
Yeah. That was my whole childhood. What are you talking about?
Same. I'm trying to think. I would catch butterflies and I remember flipping rocks and looking for insects and stuffing them in jars.
Yeah.
Never watering them.
I also caught the cutest dog the other day. I didn't bring it home. It had tags on, and so I called its owner, and they came. But it was an adorable little dog.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Mr. and Mrs. Morelia sent a super chat.
Ooh.
We are now on both Discord servers. Still have to join Patreon. Our bad. It's so affordable too. Just been lazy and enjoying the super chats here.
I want to talk about a thing real quick.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I haven't even talked this over with our team, so I don't know if this will happen just yet. But right now we've got two levels of Patreon. We've got our rad fans and our stinking rad fans. Jason's like sweating bullets. He's like, What is he gonna say? But this week I did a really fun thing with Brian Cusco. If you haven't seen it, we did a debate, but an impromptu debate where we didn't know the topics or what side of the issues we would be on. The side of the issues we were on was determined by a coin toss. And after the debate was over, I stayed on in a Zoom call with a ton of people, like a ton of his probably top patrons. And we talked for like over an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Was it a 10 or was it like 10?
It was probably like 10 or 15, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was super fun to do. And so I'm going to talk to Jason about maybe instituting another level above Stinking Rad, where maybe we do that.
Super stinking.
Yeah.
Super duper.
I don't know what. Super duper Stinking Rad. I don't know what we will call it, but anyway, and I don't even know if this will get the approval. But what do you guys think of that idea? It's something I've just been thinking about. It was so fun. It might be really fun to do.
Yeah. Anthony sent a super chat. Have you ever kept a species you found while herping?
Yes.
You're supposed to do this.
Yes.
Oh, I have never.
You've never?
No. I've only gone herping with you. We were tempted. I found the most beautiful, big female rubber boa. And we wanted to bring her home, but we didn't.
We didn't. I have. In fact, Buttercup, who's the reptile I've had the longest, I guess I didn't find her. My friend Kevin found her. And then my whole childhood was all of my reptiles were this. I mean, I had turtles from Kansas. My whole family's from Kansas, and so we'd go back there every year, and it was quite a time. And so I had some reptiles from there, and garter snakes, and snapping turtles from the pond by my house. Things of this nature. Indeed.
Indeed. Okay. Thor Cox says, how do you feel about deworming your own reptiles at home? Also, what would you use?
Oh, that's a really good question. I can't tell you enough about what I would use exactly, but it seems like a good idea. If you know how to do the tests yourself, to test for parasites, essentially, like, this isn't knowledge that's impossible to obtain, and you could totally do it yourself.
Without hurting the animal, you think?
If you know what you're doing.
Okay. Awesome. Let's pop over to Patreon.
Patreon.
Anthony says, hello, my friends. Have you ever had to run or get away from an animal?
Okay. Run away from an... Oh, yes. Okay, I'm ready.
Shh. Wait, I have to think. Have I ever run away? Only with you, I think, herping. I think I run away while you go to the snake. What?
I got some killer ones.
What? Tell us.
Okay. I have... there are two that came to mind first. Okay. I gotta tell you, too, running away from Lilith was on my list of options of things to do if things went sideways. But when it comes to running away from an animal, I can think of two cases. They're both from Peru. One of them was with Leisha's brother. So Leisha's brother and I were walking down the street in Peru, and I looked down the street, and I was like, there's a bull. And her brother's like, no, it's just a drunk guy. Because there was a big truck that was swerving back and forth. It was trying to corral the bull that was running down the road towards us. So, but her brother just looked down there, and he's like, nah, it's just a drunk guy. Which...
Did he say that in Spanish?
Probably.
What does that sound like?
Okay, hay un toro. And he's like, no, es un borracho. And I was like, no, there's really a bull. And then he saw the bull. And it's like half a block from us and running at us. And we're both idiots. Like, we have no idea what to do when there's a bull running at you. Like, we just sort of look at each other. It's like, if I run away, does that just draw its attention to me? Do I play dead? What do I do when there's a bull running at you in the street? And eventually we noticed the old Peruvian guys running, and we're like, they know. Those guys know. And so, we took off running then. Yep. That was genuinely like running for my life from an animal. And then did you say you had as well?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to hear yours before I get to mine.
No. I'm pretty sure I just ran away from the snakes that you're running towards.
Another one. Usually I get really excited about the animals, but another one was a mule. I lived on an island in the middle of Lake Titicaca called Amantani, and while I was on that island, there was
no running water or electricity on that island. By the way, have you lived there for like 6 months?
3 months.
3 months.
There was a.
You got to shower every 2 weeks. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. So yeah, which is almost was like I shower more than twice that often now. But anyway,
at least once a week.
There was a mule, so there are no roads or anything, and a lot of times it's just paths. And there was this angry mule who I believe his name was Clinton, which was the only Clint I met in Peru.
That is hilarious.
Was this mule, and he was blocking the way, and he was trying to kill us. And I managed to get around him, but I was with a companion of mine, and I got around him to the other side, and then I had to distract him so that my companion could get around him too. It was quite a day of mule wrangling.
That's fun. That was a fun question. I hope people ask more. Okay, this is from Robert Watson. Hello, Clint. I was curious about your expanded thoughts on reptile intelligence. It seems that what's happening? It seems that as time goes on and more studies are done into animal cognition, is that right?
Yes.
Is that the way you would use it? I mean,
Cognition?
like cognitive thinking or into animal cognition, we are coming to recognize that reptiles aren't the slow-witted base vertebrates that they've been labeled as for over a century. From your video with Garrett, you mentioned that we in the herp hobby have a thing about thinking certain animals are smarter than others. You raised the interesting point that it might be less about these animals' actual intelligence and more about how to gain and process information in a way that is closer to our own, visually focused rather than scent focused. Given all the above, what would be a few reptiles that you think are smarter than others? Examples in their type, e.g., lizards, a crocodilian, a snake.
Okay, so he was talking about something in the video Garrett just recently released where he came here to the reptile room. And this is on Reach Out Reptiles. If you guys aren't following that channel, you should totally subscribe. But anyway, it's about the intelligence of various reptiles. And if you think about it, there are reptiles that often people are like, they're so smart, you know, like indigo snakes and reticulated pythons. And really, if you break it down, they're almost exclusively highly visual reptiles.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes a lot of sense that we would think of them as intelligent. If you look at a jumping spider or a praying mantis, you know, you're like, man, that's a dang smart spider, or that is a really smart insect. You know, you can just see the intelligence in their eyes. Well, I think a big part of it is our own bias, because we're highly visual. So I can watch a praying mantis doing things, and I'm like, I know exactly what he's all about. I know what he's looking at. I know what he's thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I get it. I get what's going on. You know, it's so I see myself reflected so much in what that insect is doing right now.
Yeah.
And so it's easy for me to understand their intelligence. Where other animals that are using other senses as their primary way of interpreting the world, it is very difficult for me to get into their headspace.
Yeah.
And so they might be very intelligent, solving all sorts of incredible problems, but I don't even know those problems are going on. The only problems I recognize are the ones I can see.
Yeah.
And so there's a big bias there. So I'm going to tell you, my answers are still going to be biased by my own visual bias.
Yeah.
But animals that seem particularly intelligent, monitors and T-head lizards, you know, I've watched them solve complex problems. They're very intelligent animals. The crocodilians across the board, they're all very intelligent. You know, probably some of them, like Nile crocodiles, that have a bigger social hierarchy and stuff, that are, you know, in bigger groups and stuff on a regular basis. They probably need to have a higher level of intelligence to sort out all that sociality so you don't get yourself murdered. Snakes, again, you know, things like reed ticks, king cobras, indigos, they at least appear very intelligent. And something to keep in mind too, this is a big deal, is, you know, sometimes we think because of their cold blood they're not very smart. And I can guarantee you, an ectothermic organism, when it is cold, probably not thinking very fast, right? Things are just not functioning very quickly then. But you warm that animal up to a body temperature maybe higher than yours, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Jacob Huser said, lately I've seen pictures and videos of people feeding boiled or scrambled eggs to their hognose snake as a treat or as an attempt to get them eating again. But I've also seen some people claim that feeding anything cooked to a reptile should always be considered a bad idea, since they assert reptiles aren't adapted to digesting cooked meals. Is this just bad reasoning, given that humans didn't adapt for cooked foods either, not to be confused with the adaptations we made because we began cooking food, or is there something to it?
If you're not introducing anything extra to the food except for heat, then all you're really doing is denaturing the proteins, which is just going to make it easier to digest. You know, this is sort of like the argument that herbivores can't eat meat because they're not adapted to it. Well, the thing is, meat is much easier to break down than plants. So basically anything that has a gut that can handle plants can pretty much handle meat too. I would be very surprised to find out that easier to digest cooked foods are a problem when uncooked foods would not be, but you are going to be destroying a lot of the bacteria that can potentially be in it.
Yeah. Betty Morgan said, could you please do a video on target training a tegu? I've tried with my adult tegu. She has destroyed 2 targets. She doesn't touch her target. She bites it. She will run across the room and leap into the air to grab her target. Tegus are pretty good jumpers. I would like to try again with my baby tegu, and I'm sure my outcome with Tonks isn't ideal.
I can tell you, I mean, I think we should make a target training video eventually, but I can give you a tip right now that'll fix this, which is something that I do with Gus, which is I show him his target through the glass.
Yeah, he would try to bite it.
Oh yeah, he comes up and he's like nom 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 nom. That's what he does. And that that's how he's come to his target. When he comes up and starts mouthing on the glass at the target, I'm like, good to go. And then I open it up and put food in there, and it's great. And when he doesn't get the target, he knows he's not being fed, and we don't get any confusion. Yeah, he is you're a cute guy, Mr. T.
Okay, sorry. Good tip. Amar said, loved your debate video and the bonus video this week. Would love to see a longer debate where you guys debate more reptile-related topics and give us your actual view on them afterwards. On a side note, that would be fun. I was wondering how many hours a week you say is taken up by taking care of your reptile collection. As always, keep doing what you're doing.
Those are great questions. So first off, I agree about the debate. I had so much fun, and a lot of our topics were kind of non-serious. But it was just fun. Brian's such a good guy.
He's so nice. Yeah, he's just so sincere and genuine. But everything he says is so genuine.
This debate, by the way, was on his channel, Triple B TV. Yeah. And that's not BBB TV. It's Triple B TV. Yeah. Is the name of it. And it's hard for me to say I've met a better person. Yeah. He's just unbelievable. And we have such a good time. It was just really nice getting to connect with him and talk to him. And he is one of those people, something that I am very passionate about is that really before you can make up your mind on something, you need to sincerely understand the best arguments for both sides. Mm-hmm. And I think he's very much a person that feels the same way. And so generally, we do feel like we can take either side of a debate topic and represent it fairly. And so we were responding to the questions given, and a lot of the questions given were not super serious or super controversial topics, but we're willing to take those on too. And in the case of reptile topics, that would be fun to give our actual thoughts in the end as well. Yeah. Great idea. Yeah, and I would love to do this again with Brian, and I think he'd be on board. He has all the skills though. He made it happen. It was awesome. Yeah. It was really fun.
How many hours a week?
Oh, it's hard to say because I kind of just fit it in here and there. Yeah. While I'm at the reptile room, I'm kind of bopping between things. It's sort of doing reptile maintenance. I'm an introverted person, and so sometimes I need an away break. So I enjoy doing the dishes. I enjoy my time feeding geckos. I look forward to it. It's a bummer because I have to do it, but at the same time, it's I enjoy this time where I can be away and think. And just something that's not difficult, and so I do enjoy.
Yeah, you don't have a schedule where you're just okay, from this time to this time I'm taking care of animals, this time and this time I'm feeding. It's just it varies day by day. Wherever you can fit it in there, you just go do it.
But as we're having more people at the room in the future, right now we are kind of on a hiatus from everything, so I'm doing everything there, but I need to get things more scheduled so that other people can get incorporated in and know where I am. Yeah. Right now, it's all up here.
Corey Neidham said, hello there. Earlier today, I heard an NPR report saying that Argentine tegus are becoming an increasingly problematic invasive species in the southeastern U.S. In light of that report, what are some things everyday people can do to limit the spread of invasive species in their area and prevent the introduction of new non-native species to an environment?
Here's the thing. Once an organism gets a foothold in a place where it is not native, but where it does well, it is really difficult to get them out. The thing about tegus are very overhyped in their impact. I mean, for one thing, just for the record, I just drove through, road cruising and doing all kinds of things through the Everglades and to other, and all over South Florida. we didn't see a single tegu wandering around. I saw over 1,000 green iguanas. No tegus, no Burmese pythons. They are out there though. I saw 3 American crocodiles, and no tegus.
Yeah.
So they're out there. You can find them if you look hard enough. You can find them. They are there, but they're not like swimming in them. They are swimming in green iguanas. So they're everywhere. Yeah. The thing about them is, it's not ideal that they're there, but their environmental impact compared to things like dogs and cats and pigs, nothing, right? They're doing nothing compared to these animals. These animals are doing tons of destruction, and no one will talk about them because they're so beloved. And so, but politicians and stuff can get a lot of traction taking on tegus. Well, the reality is, if tegus are as well established down there as we talk about them being, and I think they are, so say there are 10,000 or more tegus wandering around the Everglades. Well, the reality is, if someone releases their tegu down there now, it's not making that big of a difference. Certainly, we don't want to make a practice of doing this, especially with more species, because more species will take hold. So one of the biggest things is making the right choices when we pick reptiles, and knowing what to do if we do need to rehome them. Yeah. And then spreading that knowledge. Spread that knowledge as much as you can, because once they're established, it's really hard to get them out. And so the entire key is make sure they're not established. And if we as a hobby are making these mistakes, then politicians are justifiably going to crack down on this hobby more and more and more. And so don't do that. Spread good information, and help people out. That's another thing that I think is major is people get into trouble with the reptiles they have. And if they turn to the reptile community, they get eaten alive. So
it's sad.
Be kind and compassionate. Be like, hey, I made a horrible choice with this. I can't take care of it. I have to get rid of it. And instead of just tearing into that person, help them find a way to get out of the bad situation. And in a way that is most beneficial for the reptile, especially.
Yeah, I love it. Amy B sent $50.
Oh,
there it is. Thank you,
Amy. Thank you.
She said, thank you for your time and expertise, both of you. Have you ever been herping and looking for an animal and it was much closer than you knew? Well, I know what story.
I got a good one. That's a dandy.
Yeah. In Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Okay. And honestly, the first thing I thought of was not herping, but our dog Theo. All the time, I'm like, where is he? And I'm worried he's getting into something or something. He is never more than 10 feet away. Whenever I say that, he's just quiet, hanging out. But that is not at all the story.
No.
And I wasn't really herping. Leisha was stupendously pregnant with Owen.
Yeah.
But we needed to go to Oklahoma for some of my research for my master's and catch Nicrophorus orbiculus burying beetles.
And just, can I put in some context here? Here's some context. I'm 7.5, close to 8 months pregnant at this point. We are going in the dead of the summer in like July, wasn't it? July? Yeah, June or July, the dead of summer. And we're going to Oklahoma where it's 90 degrees.
But it was like a paradise.
And so humid. And there were so many mosquitoes and ticks that we had to wear.
Well, ticks especially. So
we had to wear, what are they called?
Well, yeah, this is my own invention. When you go out into the field where there are lots of ticks, wear hip waders. Mm-hmm. It is incredible how effective that is at keeping ticks off of you.
Yeah.
And I'm extra glad I had them on because of this experience. So
wait. I'm not done with my
carry
context.
on. Make sure you tell them about the butterflies.
Oh yeah. So also I don't know if you know this, but when you're pregnant, your smell is super heightened. And to catch these burying beetles,
your sense of smell.
Oh, yeah. Your sense of smell, not
sorry,
your
pregnant ladies, we're not.
Your sense of smell is super heightened, and to catch these burying beetles, we had to get chicken. We'd buy frozen chicken at the store and wait for it.
The term, if you're writing a paper on this, is aged chicken.
That's what you said?
That's what you always.
We wait for it to get rotten.
Yeah, you put it in mayonnaise jars and you set it out in the sun for a few days.
Okay, so I'm almost 8 months pregnant in the middle of the summer in Oklahoma, where it's extremely humid, wearing rubber hip waders, and then burying.
Don't you prefer rubber hip waders over bunches of
Yeah,
ticks?
you found one tick on me, remember?
Mm-hmm.
But he pulled it off right when it was drawing blood, so he didn't bury himself, which was lucky. Anyways, we were burying this raw chicken, raw.
We're not burying it. You put solo cups in the ground as pitfall traps, and you bait them with just a little bit of.
So you put the raw chicken in there, and then you put leaves over it, so the burying beetle will go and fall in, and then you catch it. So that's what we were doing, and for some reason, I came to help you.
Yeah, well, because
I don't know why that was, but I was there and I was helping.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, other than. Why would we not be together?
Yeah, we just wanted to be together, I guess.
Yeah, because you're the best. So yeah, it was an amazing experience. We were out, in the middle of nowhere, and so there was one place we found that just there in the park where we were putting. It was just this little river. It was a water snake we came across.
Yeah,
and thousands of butterflies.
Thousands.
It was like
7 or 8 or 10 would just land on your arm all at once.
It was so amazing, and then. There was a herd of elk that just hung out right by us.
Yeah. Big, huge male to a big bull. And we were scared at one point because they were letting us get awfully close to them. And we didn't want to get close. We just needed to set these traps in.
I think we needed to check the traps.
Because the traps were already there. About it.
Anyway, I was digging a hole for one of these pitfall traps. And you got to realize when I'm in the field, though I'm not herping, I'm always herping.
Yeah.
And but I was digging a hole for a pitfall trap, and I just finished it. So I'd been doing this for a little bit, and then something really big moved next to me. And usually when I hear something rustle, I get excited. But this was close enough and big enough that I was like, "Duh." And it was like a 6-foot+ timber rattlesnake that had been sitting right next to my foot the whole time I dug that. And it did just what every other snake basically would do in that situation, which was it held perfectly still, and when it got a chance, it ran away. You okay? Oh dear.
Is he sneezing on you? Okay, anyways, that was a scary experience.
Yes.
I'm like, please, and we're in the middle of a forest, out in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, you can't die. I don't even know how to drive back to society.
For some reason, it has only been in the last few months that I've realized those hip waders probably would have prevented it from being able to envenom me.
Yeah, big, huge rubber boots. Okay, Wolfgeist said... Wolfgeist.
Oh, okay.
Said, the Zoom was great fun. You have at least 3 of us here right now from the other night. Melusine, Aurora, and myself. We loved it.
I'm so glad.
That's awesome.
Thanks you. Yeah, there. It was incredible. Thank you guys for doing that. It was really, really fun to get to talk to y'all.
Yeah. Mr. and Mrs. Morelia said, love the super duper rad fan Zoom call idea. And I promise we will one-on-one chat eventually. Never have I ever done a Zoom call. LOL. That's awesome.
Isn't that a good way to crack into it?
Yeah.
I kind of buy into that. Go big or go home on your first of something. Our first bird video. Peregrine falcon.
Yeah, go big or go home.
Yeah.
Anthony Simone sent a $19.99 super chat.
Regulation.
Anthony. So, my friend, what reptiles have begun to be captive bred that in the past were either extremely difficult or thought to be near impossible?
Dracovolans flying dragons.
Yeah, you always say that.
Yeah, I would have told you not very long ago that those are impossible to keep alive virtually, but now people are starting to captive breed them. That's the biggest one that comes to my mind immediately. There's all kinds of them though. I mean, there are people working with crazy species we've never even heard of, and we will try to bring them all to your attention over time.
Yeah.
People all the time are like, you guys, anytime we release an unconventional video, a video about an arthropod or something, people are like, oh, he's out of ideas. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Not even close.
We could do this for I have no idea. Here's the thing. We are probably not making videos as fast as new species are coming into the hobby.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Dragon Whisperer said, I have a crusty I hatched in June, and it seems to be eating Rapashi and Pangea, and I'm seeing poop, but only gained 2 grams in 5 months. Possible grunts?
Could be different geckos grow at different rates. I find if you give them more protein, some more insect feeders mostly, they grow a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But
That's
some
a
grow
good
faster
idea.
than others. As long as it's going up, that's probably good.
Alex Haley says, Titanoboa, the best pet snake.
I've thought about that before. Like,
Yeah.
would it be fun to do
They're
videos about various extinct reptiles and things, or would that just be a waste of time? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Titanoboas are freaky, though.
Freaky how cool they are.
Love and Truth said, on Reptile Intelligence, my BTS, other skinks, and 5 types of geckos watch TV, but my 4-bearded dragons ignore it. So are dragons more or less intelligent?
Probably more. That seems like a sign. No, I don't know. Those are all, I think, pretty smart lizards. Bearded dragons are certainly demonstratively intelligent. They can learn new and novel behaviors by observing other dragons do them,
so cool.
which that's pretty high level.
We've had geckos watch us. They're so funny. They'll like, remember when we had one in our living room in Orem, and it would climb on its glass and then like push its head back so it couldn't see us. Okay.
Who is it, Theo?
Daughter fan said, taming a 2-year-old wild caught Southern Euro tail whip and flail.
Well, give me a 2-year-old wild caught. Oh, I think it's a Euromastix, but it has a flail essentially for a tail. That's what I'm getting. And that doesn't. Oh, how to do it? Euros, and I'm hoping I'm getting this right. If you're trying to tame a Euromastix, it's probably just going to be through pleasant handling experiences. You could actually try tongue feeding it some veggies. Euros are a little bit shyer than bearded dragons, but so are almost everything. But with some positive interaction, they usually start getting less and less shy.
Dave Thompson said, please tell the story of how you and Leisha met.
Oh boy. All right. And that's a super chat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Super duper chat?
No, just a super chat.
So as you heard earlier, when I lived in Peru, her brother Tanner was there also, and her brother and I lived in the same house for 6 months. And so when I came home, I felt like I needed to move to Utah, but I'd only been to Utah one time, and so I called her brother up and asked if he needed a roommate, and he did, and so I came out here, and
Tanner said, one of the people that I met in Peru, they call them companions. One of my companions is coming to live with me. And I said, ooh, is he cute? And Tanner said, no, but he's funny. You'll like him.
Thanks, Tanner. But anyway, so I met, Leisha was the second new person I met once I got here. And we didn't start dating right away, but we became really, really good friends for quite a while. And in fact, we were both kind of quasi involved with other people when we met, but those were complicated situations. That was something we kind of had to bond over. And
I would seek advice on my boyfriend stuff, and he was seeking advice on his complicated girlfriend stuff.
Yep.
And there was no pressure, and we became best friends and hung out all the time, every day.
Yep. And went on an unapproved date with somebody Leisha knew was pretty odd, but I didn't firsthand, and I figured it out.
He was going on a date with this girl that I knew, and I was like, please don't.
No, you were not that under control about it.
No, I think it was. I think you came and told me that you had gone on a date with her, not that you were going to. Because he came home and said, I went on a date with Sarah. I mean, Soraya.
She who shall not be named.
And I was like, and we weren't dating, and I didn't like him or anything, but I was so angry at him. I was like, I can't believe you did that.
That was an experience. That was an experience.
Me being mad at you?
No, that evening.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It'll take a pretty super duper chat to provide that story.
So one thing is that before Tanner came home from Peru, me and my family went to pick him up, and he had a little pocket book, like a little calendar pocket planner thing, and Clint's picture was on the back of it. So in a ton of our family pictures in Peru, Clint's in it, and I hadn't even met Clint yet. That's funny. Okay, Eleanor Vale said, "Hi guys." She said, they sent $10. I gave you in Cusco that is a hot dog a sandwich topic for your bait the other day. I gave you the win. That was fun.
Thank you. Oh, I don't deserve any of the credit. That was all dictionary.
No dictionary. I liked how Brian X you out.
Oh my God.
That was so fun. Well, I think we're all caught up.
We're all caught up on all the
and
chats.
Nobody wants to know, have you ever? Nobody wants to get.
Are you guys here? We are not going to play.
Answers from Clinty. I guess that was a fail.
We've got we got a few more minutes.
No juicy answers from Clint.
Let's see here. Genius way to keep ticks off. Isn't it? It's the best. I will never go back. Here, I can tell a little story because I have a moment. So I was in Wisconsin out in the field with my friend Kevin, who was just starting his master's, and I was finishing mine at the time. And then we had an undergraduate with us. And I instructed all of us wear hip waders. We were in the field for 3 weeks in Wisconsin. My primary advisor and one other faculty member came up, and they weren't there for the whole time. They were there for like maybe a week and a half and like 4 days, respectively. Mm-hmm. They didn't wear hip waders because I wasn't their boss. But for the two that were sort of under me, I was like, wear hip waders. Between the three of us with the hip waders, in 3 weeks, we got one total tick. Meanwhile, the two faculty members were covered in ticks every day.
That's
it was,
so disgusting.
Anyway,
okay, people are sending in have you ever stuff. Let me look.
Let's do it.
Clint is looking nice and fresh today. Why are people saying rest in peace, Tanner?
Oh, because he got taken out by that bull, probably.
Okay. Have you ever had a reptile escape?
Ready? Oh, I want to tell a story.
Okay, go.
Ready?
I'm not doing it. I don't own any reptiles.
Because they're not. Well, you have a tortoise who's never really escaped.
So, because you have.
I have. Just forgetting which one was this. Totes.
Yeah.
I have a couple stories actually from recently. So one of them for me, the most recently, I was training a new volunteer, and he put a rainbow boa back, but didn't get it quite secured just right. And I discovered it like 1 or 2 days later when I was going through. That rainbow boa was gone. And I was like, oh no, because the reptile room is not suited for a rainbow boa to do very well.
No.
But I'm pretty good at putting myself into rainbow boa headspace. And I wandered around and actually, and I should mention something. When I bought that bag of peat moss, like I see using peat moss all over the place, I was thinking of it as because it's sphagnum peat moss. So before I opened that bag, I thought it was just a bag of sphagnum moss. Now that I know more about peat moss and that it's an unsustainable resource, I'm not going to do peat moss so much anymore. And thanks for bringing that up in the video, because that's just something I hadn't given any thought. There aren't a lot of bogs around here, so I don't even think about that. But anyway, but that bag was open from when we filmed the video that we just released on Wednesday. And I looked down inside that bag. I don't know why exactly, but I was thinking like a rainbow boa. I looked down in there and I could see just a little bit of him. He was in the bag of peat moss, really far away. Anyway, but this last week I got to do a live chat, and before we do the face-to-faces, there's a little place for notes, and they were talking about how they just recently gotten a snake, and they had a couple of geckos, and I was asking them about their snake, and they're like, oh, we're actually going through a really hard thing right now because our snake got away. And I was like, uh-oh, but I'm good at getting into snake headspace.
So Clint helped them find the snake, and they lived happily ever after.
Story ruiner.
There's more.
Okay. Anyway, we found their snake, like right away, right at the
Yeah.
beginning of our face-to-face. So if you lose a reptile, schedule a face-to-face. I'd be happy to help you.
Okay, have you ever had a pet that you disliked?
That I disliked? I'm not gonna say I had one that I disliked, but I've had some that I didn't like as much as I thought I would.
Yeah. I had a fish growing up, and I was bored.
No, this is a terrible story.
It's just a fish. I was bored of taking care of it. I had it for like so long, and my mom made me clean out the stuff, help me clean out the tank, and made me clean it out. And I didn't want to clean it out anymore. I was so bored of it, so I flushed it down the toilet while it was alive.
How old were you?
I don't know, like 15 or
Oh
something.
no.
Maybe 11. I don't know. I flushed it down the toilet while it was alive, and it swam back up and was swimming around. And it was sitting in the little hole of the toilet bowl, and there was just eyes staring up. And my dad I didn't know that it swam back up, but my dad went to use the bathroom, and I just heard a scream. Okay.
Yada yada yada. I try to stay on Leisha's good side.
Yeah, you don't want to get flushed down the toilet.
That's my biggest concern.
Okay, let's see. I'm seeing if there's any more have you evers. Do you consider that in the future the reptile hobby will be becoming as powerful? And that's not a have you ever. Okay, there's a super chat that came in though. Super chat. How are the emerald tree skinks doing?
So good. Do a face-to-face.
Sorry, that was from Rowan Wren.
Basically, if you just put in your little notes from the face-to-face, I want to come for an hour and watch you play with emerald tree skinks, I'd be like, yes, because that is like every face-to-face. I'm like, there's like 6 times where I get out emerald tree skinks because I'm like, and we're back. Look at them. They're wonderful.
Yeah.
That's how they're doing.
Yep. Let's see. Mark Atkins said, don't have a question, but my boa moved up a rat size today, which I'm excited about.
Ooh.
He's going to be 3 next year. He's 10 pounds to celebrate. Thanks for all you do.
Wow. He's
That's
getting some size. It sounds like you're growing him at just right rate.
John Phillips into Super Chat. My daughter got a 9-year-old albino corn snake, and we found green scale on its head just before it shed. The scale is still green after shedding. Is this something we should be concerned with?
No, I don't think you should be particularly concerned.
Unless you're in a humid area, maybe, right?
Well, if it's still green after it shed, it's probably pigment. I don't know what's going on there. That's interesting. If you find out, please let me know.
Yeah, that is interesting. Have you ever been scared to touch your pet? Ready, set.
There are plenty of times where they're just not having it.
Yeah.
And you just go, okay. We'll come back here in a few minutes.
Rachel said, Leisha, did your dad rescue the fish from the toilet? No.
Finish the job, Leisha.
That sounds just like it. Oh dear. Have you ever had a big snake bite you? Ready,
Big snake. Okay.
go. Clint knows how to read snakes pretty well.
Yeah, all of my snake bites have been relatively small snakes, and all but one of them when I just wasn't watching the snake. I almost got bitten by a baby boa the other day. There were 2 drawers for freshly born boas, and I was taking pictures of one of them, and another one twice took a shot at my hand, but he would hit me with the side of his head, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta pay attention to both of them.
Have you ever broken a bone?
Have I ever broken a bone?
Ready, set.
Don't know.
You broke your finger.
Well, I messed up the joint of this finger, but I'm really not sure if I messed up any bones in it. It used to be a little fatter than it was, but it's goofed up.
Have you ever had to rehome a pet?
Ready?
Yep. Go.
When I moved to Peru, I had to rehome everything I had.
Yep. Let's see. Have you ever been bit by a frog?
Frog. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Yeah, I can't think of a time. I'm like, frogs. It depends on the frog, right? I mean, if it's a Pac-Man frog or an African bullfrog, those will bite you if you give them the chance.
Yeah.
Most frogs are not very bitey.
Have you ever bought an animal as an impulse buy? Ready?
Well,
Set.
I don't know. I guess.
So if expos count, because you kind of go to expos looking for reptiles, so you've bought impulse buys at an expo. But I bought a Reggie, my turtle, from Joey. I saw the turtles and I was like, I want one of those. It was this big.
I would say I've never bought anything without researching it first. Right? Like a lot of times I go to expos and there's sort of a big list of things I might get if I find the right deal. And so I have found the right deal, but I can't think of anything where I'm just like, oh, whoa. I very nearly did that with a centipede eating snake, but I always research it and I found out this thing only eats centipedes. Like when I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, because they're unbelievably awesome. And many people have done this. But I didn't just buy it. I went, okay, I've got to know about this before I buy it. Whoa, good thing.
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody said, have you ever rescued an animal? And if so, what was it?
Oh, ready?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what counts for
all
me.
sorts of things. I mean,
Yeah.
a good chunk of
most of your collection are rescued.
Yeah,
animals.
a lot of them are ones that needed rehomed or rescued.
Yep. Natalia Prado of Vero sent a super chat. During the debate, I suggested Star Wars versus Star Trek, but I guess that was too controversial a topic.
No, I loved it, and I'm sad that we didn't get to discuss it.
Have you ever talked your way out of a traffic ticket? Okay, ready?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3. You have?
Huh?
You didn't talk your way out of it.
Yes, I did. I've never had a traffic ticket.
And so how do you talk your way out of one?
Well, I got pulled over for having expired registration, and I explained that I had just gotten the car running, and I took it in for its emissions test after we got it running, but it needed to go 100 miles before I could do the emissions, and until I could do the emissions, I couldn't do the registration.
Well, if you're counting that, then I have, because
What'd you do?
a police stopped me for a taillight that was out,
Uh-huh.
and he was like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And he said, okay, just fix it,
Okay.
and didn't give me a fix
Say it
ticket
counts.
or anything.
Well, I tend to not speed.
No, Clint's not. I'm a lead foot. I have a total lead foot, but Clint does not. He drives like a grandpa. Sometimes I'm like, just let me drive. Get out. I've been driving a lot more lately.
I drive cars. I like cars that accelerate fast. So I will drive fast within the law. But I've always driven like my car that I had in high school had racing stripes on it. Like there was not gonna be any talking myself out of any tickets.
Yeah.
So, and I couldn't afford the insurance if I did.
Donovan Jones sent a. I know that you did a video on black throat monitor, but I was wondering if you would do one on a white throat monitor as well.
Totes.
Yeah.
I even have a friend who's got a bunch of white throats right now.
Have you ever? Let's see.
In fact, he asked me if I wanted a white throat. My answer was no, I do not.
Have you ever been confronted by a venomous snake in the wild, like a viper, or copperhead, or something?
Okay, ready?
Yeah, 1, 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, in Florida.
Well, I mean, as far as confronting me, I would say, well, I mean, here's the reality. I would say I've never really been confronted by one. I've encountered them where I didn't know they were there, and it was up to them what they did.
Yeah.
And then I've encountered others. I've never encountered a venomous snake in the wild that seemed like it was trying to. I have never even encountered a venomous snake in the wild that was being defensive in an aggressive way. They're always just trying to get away from me.
Yeah. I am thinking that we start wrapping up. What are you thinking?
Are we out of questions?
Pretty much.
Out of super chats?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we should do 2 more. Have you ever?
I'm surprised more juicy questions aren't coming up.
Yeah, well.
These are pretty easy. Have you ever lost a pet and then never found it?
Really?
I don't know what counts for me. I feel like I shouldn't play because I'm not counting really your pets. I haven't had very many of my own.
Okay, I'll do it then. Ready?
Yeah.
Well, you could just say you've never.
Okay, ready, set.
As a kid, I had a garter snake. I was moving it from one enclosure to another, and I was a kid, and I lost track of it. And it was like this long, but none of my relatives that were scheduled to come out to visit came and visited after they found out that my tiny little garter snake had escaped in our house. And we never found him, nor any evidence of him being dead. So he might have gotten
You
out.
lost your leopard gecko once.
Yeah, but at least you found
it. And it was like a month later.
Yeah, or more.
Yeah, and I was so scared to catch it because I'm like, this is probably like a wild leopard gecko. And I was like, I have to catch this or Clinty will be so sad.
It crawled into our couch while we were photographing it. So it didn't get out of its enclosure. It just went into the couch.
And Clint like unscrewed the whole thing and like took it apart and we couldn't find it. And I told one of like a good friend that I had in college, I told her that story the next day when it happened. And she was like, that is disgusting. And then didn't talk to me again. I don't know if I ever told Clinty that story because it made me so sad.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
I know.
That almost makes up for the fish.
You naughty. Okay.
It's such a horrendous story.
It's just a fish. Let's see. There was another good one. Oh, have you ever had to sleep on the couch?
Had to?
Ready, set. So there are times when I've been mad enough at Clint where I want to come and sleep on the couch. Like I don't want to sleep by him. So I'll come and sleep on the couch. But then Clinty doesn't want me to sleep on the couch. So he comes and sleeps on the floor by me. And then that usually melts my heart and we end up sleeping on the floor.
I've been in trouble for falling asleep on the couch.
Yeah, I get so mad at him. So I'll go up to bed and he's like, I just needed a nap. I was so tired. And he'll fall asleep on the couch until like 4 a.m. and then come up. And I'm why have you not been snuggling me all night?
I wake up at 3. I feed my geckos and I come.
Yeah, I get mad at him for falling asleep. It's not just a fish. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Morelia sent a we thought the game questions were going to be from Patreon, so we weren't prepared. Oops. Love you, though.
Well, maybe we'll play again.
No,
sometime.
we won't.
We will never play this game again.
I don't think they like it.
This is it.
Have you ever had feeder insects escape in your house?
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I find crickets.
All the time.
Usually the kids catch them for me, though.
Good children.
Yeah. Have you ever caught a wild animal as a pet?
And we already answered that question.
Yep. Have you ever been recognized by one of your humans or fans of Leisha?
Have you ever?
No, you. Or fans of Leisha.
Or fans of Leisha.
Yeah.
We talked about that a little earlier.
Yeah. We love this. Do more of this. Have you ever slept with a reptile? Have you ever slept with a reptile?
There are many ways that question can be taken. I will assume in like the bed, actual sleep, and I will say, no matter how we interpret this question, I have never slept with a reptile.
Yeah, that's weird and seems dangerous.
But there are people who sleep with tegus and stuff and big snakes, things that can't get lost easily.
Have you ever had a reptile escape in the house? We already did that one. And somebody's saying, I love this game, but nobody's asking questions.
They're asking questions now.
Yeah.
They finally realized this game's fun.
I love this, but I'm bad at coming up with questions. Stephen Shepard, that's me. Maybe I should ask you questions.
Oh, dear. Have you ever fleshed a fish?
It's just a fish.
It is not just a fish. Well, I mean, okay, it's just, where does it just end?
Have you ever crashed a car?
Have I ever crashed a car?
Yeah.
Not into a car, but I bumped my fender on my house when I was in high school. Very disappointing.
Have you ever been bit by a huge lizard?
Oh,
I got bit by Gus Gus.
yeah.
He wasn't being aggressive or mean. I just would let him sniff my hand like you would a... Clint talks about so much about how he's like a reptile puppy. So I was letting him sniff my hand like you would a dog before you go to pet it. And then I went to pet him and he thought I was offering him food. So we just kind of grazed my hand a little. It felt like a bunch of razor blades, like
Yeah.
hundreds of razor blades.
Teeth are very sharp.
And it wasn't a big deal. Have you ever...
Felt like hundreds of razor blades on my hand. No big deal.
Have you ever been lost? Clint's a terrible navigator. He gets lost every day. Have you ever got into financial trouble by your animals?
And my animals?
You spent too much on animals.
Well, I would say this, but I'm going to say this because the reptile room was going to drive us into the ground until the face-to-face chats. So thank you, guys.
Have you ever regretted getting an animal?
Yeah, I have not like huge regret, but like definitely some that I'm like, I would rather not have had this.
Yeah. Do you ever get nervous before posting a video? Really?
Once.
Which one?
My tribute to Steve Irwin. It was just crazy because I like recorded it and released it right away. So it was fresh, and no one else, there was no one in between. It was just, of course, now we do this.
Have you ever had an argument in public, like in the mall or shops? I have, but I don't think with Clinty. My mom and I used to not get along.
Well, and I would say not like an argument because we don't tend to get into like shouting matches very often or anything, but disagreements.
Yeah.
That we're working out.
Have you ever looked in someone? Wait, that's a good one. Where'd it go? Have you ever? I think it was saying, have you ever looked in someone's medicine cabinet?
Oh.
Let's see. Have you ever gone herping? No. Where'd it go?
You can just ask.
Have you ever looked in someone's medicine cabinet when using their restroom? Ready? Set?
Using the restroom. Seems like Alicia thing to do.
I'm really nosy.
She is. And she's very frustrated by my lack of nosiness.
Yeah.
Somebody would be like, Kevin couldn't come over. And she's like, why? And I was like, he's sick. And she's like, what's wrong with him? I'm like, I don't know. Or he was busy. Doing what? I didn't ask. I just assumed that he knew what he was busy with. Like, are you sure you're busy? Tell me what the busyness is, and I will determine if you're truly busy.
Let's see. Mm-hmm. Have you ever pulled an all-nighter in college to finish a paper or whatever? Clint did that every day of his life.
There was nights that I slept for like 45 minutes in 3 15-minute naps when I could no longer function.
Have you ever cheated?
Cheated? What kind of cheating are we talking about?
I don't know, but I have.
Okay, I have.
I kissed boys while I was dating Clinty.
Yeah, so many.
But I didn't do other stuff with them. I just kissed them. So many. There was not so many.
A lot for me.
It's only like 2 or something. How big? No, let's see. I'm getting hot though. These questions are starting to get juicy.
And not that kind of cheating for me, by the way. But when I was in middle school, I found some creative ways to not study for tests.
Yeah, I never.
I have the best one. I have the best one. When I was in like the 2nd grade.
Oh yeah.
I was really good at my spelling tests, but for some reason I felt insecure about this one. So I taped the answers on the inside of my desk. Every time she'd say a question, I'd go.
So clever. This is a good one. Have you ever been on the Amazon River while in Peru? I swam in it. There was a huge rope swing, and we did the rope swing into the river. And we had a tour guide with us, and he said he was splashing to scare away the freshwater stingrays, which I didn't know were in there. And then we got in this little canoe, and we saw tons of squirrel monkeys everywhere, and it was some red, I don't know what kind of monkeys in a tree, and saw all sorts of cool things. But Clinty, unfortunately, I saw leafcutter ants.
I saw the driest desert in the world.
Have you ever forgotten to feed one of your animals?
I mean, on a day maybe, but not like forever.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten Owen a reptile?
Reptile?
Clint gave him a hissing cockroach to test out how we would do with responsibility, and he did okay, but I don't think he's quite ready.
No, he's not ready.
Have you ever been to Antarctica?
No, my last office mate and a good friend of mine, Andy, he's been to Antarctica many times because that's where he did his research for his PhD.
Yeah. Have you ever regretted not getting an animal? Milk snake?
Yes! I once got milk snakes for the ultimate milk snake, but we ended up getting not milk snaked on a car because I'd learned my lesson.
Have you ever been to Europe? Neither of us.
No. I haven't been very many places.
Me either. We've been pretty much the same places.
Yes.
Though you've been to the Bahamas.
I've been to the Bahamas, so I strolled a few miles off the coast of Florida.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Kruger National Park in South Africa? I've never been to Africa.
Me either. But I'd like to go.
Me too. I want to snuggle a gorilla there.
I don't know if there are any.
Gorillas in Africa?
South Africa.
Yeah, not South Africa. Have you ever got mad at each other for buying something expensive? Ready, set. We used to get mad at each other until we figured it out. Not like mad, but being like.
Leisha's very reasonable about buying stuff. Too reasonable. Like, it's hard for me to encourage her to buy the things that she really, really wants.
We decided a long time ago that what's worth it to Clint is not worth it to me. So I would spend money on some pillows, and he'd be like, "Really? You paid that much for a pillow?" And I'm like, "But it was worth it to me. Look at it."
Yeah.
And he'll buy like some enclosure setup or something with animals that I'm like, "Really? You paid that for a mister or whatever it is?" So we decided a long time ago, what's worth it to him is not worth it to me, and what's worth it to me is not worth it to him. And so.
But if it's worth it to her, then.
Yep.
I trust her.
And we decided that we trust each other. And we have hobbies that are different, and that's okay. Clint's life flashed before his eyes. Have you ever had trouble with Karen? Which Karen? Karen in our friend group? Or Karen?
Or the general Karen?
The general Karen. Have you ever thought of yourself as the face of the reptile hobby?
But I hope we're putting a good face on the reptile hobby.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a helicopter?
These are good. These are really fun.
Have you ever ridden a horse/mule/donkey? Bonus. Have you ever drag raced a horse, mule, donkey? And they said I have.
Part 1, part 2.
Yeah. I used to ride horses a lot as a kid. I don't so much anymore. Are any of your animals illegal? That's not a have you ever. We can't answer that one.
But no.
But no. Have you ever got bitten by something venomous? Wait, if a garter snake counts.
Mm-hmm. False water cobra counts.
Have you ever eaten a reptile? Yeah, chickens.
Yep. Only avian reptiles.
Have you ever been skydiving? So I had a huge crush on this kid in high school, and I thought he was going to ask me to prom. And I was so excited because the year before he took his date skydiving for the day date. And did they do that only in Utah? In Utah, There's day dates where you like spend the day doing something casual and fun, and then they drop you off, and then they pick you up for the night for like the dance and the dinner and stuff. So for the day date, he took his date skydiving, and I wanted to go skydiving so bad. And somebody asked me to prom, and I was like, yes, I get to go skydiving. And then I found out that it wasn't him. So, and in Utah, they also ask you weird, like in like clever, punny ways, and you have to figure out who asked you. You don't just like walk up to someone and say, hey, want to go to prom with me? You do like silly fun things.
Utah be crazy.
And so I had to find out who it was that asked me, and it wasn't him. So I was sad to not go skydiving, but I've never. And now that I have kids, I probably wouldn't want to go.
No. If at first you don't succeed, skydiving isn't for you.
Yeah. Have you ever needed a license for an animal?
Well, I have some animals that I would like to get if I can get the proper permitting.
Have you ever been bitten or stung by a tarantula and or scorpion? Have you ever touched a large gator or crocodile? I think
Recently.
A large one?
Oh, I touched a giant Nile crocodile.
Where?
Down in Florida at Fred's house.
Who's Fred?
If you don't know Fred, check out, it's one of Kennan's newest videos. He goes over to Fred's house.
What? You went to a guy named Fred's house and I have no idea?
He's a cool guy. He had those hybrid alligator snapping turtle, common snapping turtles there. And all sorts of crocodilians. Fred's awesome.
So are we done or do you want me to keep reading?
Last one.
Okay, I want to wait until it's a really, really good one. So I'll read them to you and you tell me when you want to answer it. Have you ever been to Maryland? Fred is awesome. Have you ever bought or sold a reptile legally or buyed? I don't know what that means. Have you ever been to the UK? Have you ever been in a hospital because of a reptile? Are you always so cheery? Have you ever gone to the reptarium? Have you ever been arrested? Have you ever wanted to go to Europe and why?
Let's do the arrested. We'll end on that for today. They're rolling in now. We should do this again. I'm having a great time.
Have
not
you
like next
ever
time,
been in a stupid argument? Have you ever been
let's do that
scammed
one.
in the hobby? Okay, ready, second.
Which
Are you
one?
gonna tell them?
Yeah. Which one is it?
She's getting casual and excited. By the way, Clint really is always this cheery. My mom said she admires that about him. They took him out. They took us out for dinner after Clint finished his PhD to celebrate, and they were like, "You can have anything you want." They let Clint choose, and they're like, "We're paying, so get anything you want." And Clint got this giant steak, like a steak bigger. It was like falling off the dinner plate. And my mom said she was just giggling and thought about it for days after because she was like, I've never seen someone so excited about eating dinner. Okay, sorry. Tell them about this.
No. I want to hear the stupid argument.
No, you tell them. You're the one that thinks it's stupid. I think it's not stupid.
What's your stupid argument? You said you've been in one.
I was thinking about going to the moon.
That's the one I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew you were.
It wasn't just space.
No.
Yeah, it was space.
Clint wants to go to space, and I told him he can't leave his wife.
The question.
And he thinks that's stupid.
This is even before we had children. The question was if I would go to space if I had the opportunity, and I was like, yeah.
And I was like, you would leave your wife?
That was unacceptable. An unacceptable thing for me.
And we argued about it for a long time.
It was the biggest argument we'd ever had. And it was a monster. And it was, why wouldn't you go to space? And I even researched it. I'm like, okay, if you look at the history of the space shuttle, the number of missions it took, if one trip to space and back on the space shuttle is approximately as dangerous as a lifetime of riding in cars. So you've effectively doubled your chances of dying in a car accident, which isn't a super duper common way to die. Totally worth it. Once, right? Like, I'm not going to go every week. It's like holding Lilith, right? You don't hold Lilith every day. You hold Lilith.
I was so mad at him.
Once.
I was like, you don't even care that you're leaving him your wife. You're just going to leave me to be a widow? And I tell them how old I was when we got married?
Well, we can get to that later. But Leisha's
I was young.
Leisha's thing, though, was... I think that the likelihood of me dying on this space trip was very, very high in Leisha's eyes.
Yeah.
It's not that dangerous. It's so worth it.
They said they're all on your side.
Go to space, man.
Clint would be hilarious.
In space?
Yeah. While weightless, Clint would be hilarious.
Oh, gosh, are you seeing this?
Have you ever seen a Komodo dragon in real life? Denver Zoo has them.
Absolutely. And I think they had one at the Australian Reptile Park.
Have you ever gotten scammed in the hobby?
Scammed?
Yeah. People have... Remember our fire skink, Ember?
That wasn't a scam. It was just a sick fire skink.
They sold us a sick fire skink, and I'm pretty sure they knew that she was sick.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. But I true scams, they're fairly easy to spot.
Yeah.
Just don't send anybody money for an animal.
Yes, Team Leisha. Tons of people are saying they agree with me. Thank you.
Don't go
Team
to space.
Leisha.
Should I go to space, guys?
Never. You're not going to space.
Why? It's becoming more commercially possible.
Have you ever gotten in legal trouble by your pets?
Oh. We probably shouldn't go into too much detail. Because there are some people who tried to get us in legal trouble.
Yeah.
But
some people called the police.
They were unsuccessful.
The police came to the house.
Yeah, and then we had a good chat.
Yep.
That was it. It was good. Oftentimes when you confront the police, if you're polite and respectful, things go much better than if I come out there and I'm like, what are you doing on my lawn? I bet I would have had a different day.
Yeah. Why don't you both go? I'm not going to space.
No, can't we go to space together?
No.
See?
I would be so scared.
Leisha keeps me grounded.
Which is sad.
Well, yeah, just when it comes to space travel.
There's a picture, one of our engagement pictures.
When I'm floating away with the umbrella?
Yeah, Clint's holding onto an umbrella and he jumps to make it look like he's floating away, and I'm holding onto his arm. And Clint's always loved that picture, but I've always hated it. So I'm like the Debbie Downer that's like, no, you can't float away.
I've never thought about it that way. I thought of you as always keeping me at a level of atmosphere where I can breathe.
Great. Oh, dear.
I saw what happened to Sherry Bobbins.
Team Gus Gus, I don't agree with either of you.
Oh, yeah, so we can't go to space.
Team Wolf, Team Gus
Gus.
Have you ever seen a ghost? I wish, sort of.
You wouldn't like that at all.
Ghosts are my worst fear, but also my least worst fear.
There's still so many people here.
Okay, we did way more than one.
That was so
really
fun, guys. Thank you. Should we do this again? You
can plan your reptile breeding and husbandry on the moon if we go together. No, we can't.
Together. Moon trip, just one moon trip.
No, I'm not going to the moon.
You can tell this is going to be a long day. We'll update you next week about the couch sleeping.
They said yes. Please do this again. Okay, but that means next week you've got to bring your questions.
We're doing it next week?
I mean,
next time?
I don't know. When are we doing it?
Probably not next week, but we'll do it soon. Should we do it soon? Okay. Let's make it up. This is so much fun. Thank you, guys. We have had a great time. Please schedule face-to-faces so we can meet you at the room. And yeah, we'll herp the moon. As always,
thanks, guys.
Like and subscribe, and we hope to see you real soon.
Bye.
Cool, Bear. Fun.